So we've come back to Rosewell and we're stopped in the visitor center. Well, at the visitor center, he said that there was a group here that we could come meet if we don't see anybody. I guess we'll just kind of explore on our own. But there it is.
Watch for snake, but
Yeah.
we're standing here at the west wall of the building, and we have, as you can see, a nice view of a number of features of the architecture. We have these. This is the house that Mann Page built. The story is he showed up with 12 merchant vessels loaded down with the materials to build this place. He kind of had a chip on his shoulder. The Page's properties on the other side of the York River, there where Williamsburg is now, got taken over by the English crown to build the capital city of Virginia, Williamsburg, on, including the governor's palace there. So he, having married a very rich lady, had lots of money, and on his property on this side of the river, built one of the largest buildings in the United States, and what was to become the United States of America, and certainly on purpose the largest building in Virginia, a good number of feet taller than the governor's palace in Williamsburg. What you see is what remains after a catastrophic fire in 1916, and the subsequent years of vines growing over the buildings, and an enormous explosion during the middle of World War II over at the Naval Weapons Center on the other side of New York, which I guess kind of at an angle like that from where we are, Cheatham Annex, which knocked down the south-facing wall. There's even a wall you can see.
And that's the opening to the wine cellar.
Wine cellar, where the Page family story is that John Page, the first United States era governor of Virginia, scion of the Page family, resident in the early in the 1700s here, and his college roommate Thomas Jefferson got together. Thomas Jefferson, his family home being a considerable distance away from here, and just a short rowboat ride across the York River. Spent his college weekends here on a regular basis, and a better feel than we've done, laid out a grid on 50-foot centers of double decks over the whole area and off into that field. Looking for evidence of the quarter over the whole area. For instance,
He's saying they're looking to see if there's evidence of agricultural structures.
Flat, basically a giant fish pond. Remaining pieces that are only here because of those I-beams holding things in place. As you can see, had those not been put in 10 or 15 years ago, we would have no wall left.
Wow.
In front of the house. So,
Yeah, I don't know if the Mike picked that up, but he was saying the beams were put up around the year 2000, and he said if they were not there, the wall probably would not be there anymore.
See this sort of ladder type look here. Page planned to have built.
Our tour guides.
That would have been a it's caved in. It's not caved in.
Oh, really?
The outside wall has fallen. That arch would have been pressed up against the wall that no longer exists there, which flat. Anything metal you see is part of it.
No, on the ground.
Oh, Kenneth is doing some probing. You can see where he's reconstructing that arch.
Right.
He's been doing some reconstruction work. Doctors to be asking you every time you go in, have you fallen recently? Have you reached that milestone?
I fell in October, just walking my dog.
Yeah.
And I was down for, what, a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still messed up right here.
He was saying there are 15 fireplaces, 12 of them that we can see, and he said the others are in what would be considered, quote, closets. But he was saying it was things like offices, probably maybe library, things like that. But you can see 12. Kirk counted 12.
The main house with its cupolas on either top, and our kitchen and laundry, absent the arches which were never built, the stable. And here in front of us you have what would have been a formal garden leading down to Carter's Creek here. Boxwood lined paths, esplanade fruit trees. Lilo, you're kind of in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
With this nice path leading out from the back door, or the door allowing your access to the garden from the grand ballroom. So you get your breath of fresh air and promenade, as Thomas Jefferson describes himself doing in the garden.
These are pretty. I think we're heading toward the ice house. And this little pathway right here.
That's a lot of ice.
Man. Okay.
Stumbled upon this.
Uh-huh.
Well, we have a whole population of stumbling turtles that are down there. I have to watch myself if I have 8-year-old little boys, and I promise them a turtle and they don't spot it. Right.
Oh man,
there's some photographs
you
of
cannot
it,
see
in the
how
visitor
pretty
center,
this actually is along this path. Look at the
wall that
flowers.
went about, and then it
I'm
went
sure they're
horizontally.
considered weeds. I don't know what those are.
It looked like a
Kurt was asking what these bricks were, and he was saying that they are left over from the original structure that went over that pit back there that we saw. That was the ice house.
What I always say is, I'm an archaeologist. I like ruins, and encourage that encourages people to use their imaginations and to think
Right.
about the past, as opposed to just admiring artifacts and the things and stuff. So that's a sort of ongoing discussion, if you will, as to whether to raise money for reconstruction. Many people.
Okay, this is the front.
for the US government
I did
on
ask the
boats
question
and
because if you've ever been to
Where
Mount
are you
Vernon,
from?
the
The
front of
Americans
Mount
always ask
Vernon
each other the
faces
results,
the
but I
river,
have to
but
tell
this
my
is
whole life
actually the
story.
front. Right over here is the family cemetery, but he was saying that the headstones have been taken to a church. So I don't know whether that means that just the headstones and the graves are still out here, but it is blocked off out there. You can see it right there. Things like this are very interesting to me. I love old houses. And we were looking at the picture of it, and it was really not a very pretty house, but I don't think it was built for that. What I said, it kind of looks like a college dormitory or some kind of business building or something like that. The house was built to be impressive, so they built it to where people would come up and see how massive and impressive it was. So it was really not built to be one of the magnificent beauties of the day, I assume.
So anyway, the gentleman harvested the lead roof, sold it, and actually built that roof with free labor. I use that tongue in cheek, of course, it was slavery.
Right.
So, which came into play when the place burned. The fire started in the basement, and of course, once it lit, it just went up. So the floors fell on each other, we think. Just like the Twin Towers. Back on that. But the veneer brick held the heat inside the house and it made it like an oven. Mm-hmm. It was so hot, you can see the melted glass here in that case, right there. Wow. It was so hot that it altered the tops of the chimneys. And we had to redo those. Find a lot of in the different excavations we did. We don't find a plate like that, but we did find one plate that wasn't together, but it was like it was crushed, like cracked. And so we put it back together, and we finally got a museum in London to establish that that plate was from 1740. Mm-hmm. That's pretty certain. Anyways, in the governor's palace, the guy was totally obsessed with impressing people.
Yeah.
And even to the point where he monitored the thickness of the mortar joints.
So you're asking how close it was.
Well, it's pretty close, but in the winter time, it's like right there. But as the leaves, as the trees leave back, it seems like you're entrapped in. Plus, the wetlands people won't allow us to take trees down along the bank anymore. So, because they felt like it stabilized the bank. This is a formal garden of the home.
Right.
So we are not sure that the GPR will give us any information, but we have this. So several of us are wanting to reestablish the formal gardens in their original grandeur.
He was asking us if we knew what this was. And he said, nobody knows what it is. So if you know what it is, please let them know.
Shake your home.
He was saying it lost a lot of the brick on it.
And so what happened is they had an accident and it blew up too much and it actually blew down a couple of walls.
Wow.
On Timberneck, it actually blew out 23 windows in that plantation home.
Aloha.
We're going to finish up right here. Oh my gosh, this was so interesting.
Yes.
And part of the reason it was so interesting was these two gentlemen that were in here.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. They did a great job.
Did a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm. I didn't
of course,
put
we
them,
had a lot of questions.
Yeah. I didn't put them on camera. You know, I think that's, you know, I didn't ask and I think it's rude. But anyway, they were very knowledgeable.
Yep.
Very interesting.
I mean, we spent 3 hours, I think.
About 2.5, yeah.
But no, we had a good time. And if you ever in the chance, I mean, you got to learn about the history. And it's just learn. And we enjoy it. So anyway.
I'm glad we came back.
Yes.
So if you ever get up this way, check it out. It's really interesting. So
Rosewell Plantation.
So we'll see you.
3,000 acres.
Yeah. We didn't see it all.
That's a fur piece. Yeah, we didn't walk the whole thing.
All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.